Harry Carey and Steve Stone and Tom Brenneman, and things look pretty good. How about them Cubbies, 8-2?
And they're doing it here at Wrigley Field, which is even a better sign. And Jamie Navarro into the 7th inning for the 3rd straight start, Harry.
Yes, and he'll be 3-0. All right, top of the 7th. Ground ball. Dunston makes a bad throw, but Grace, boy, oh boy, it happens every play. Dunston throws in the dirt. Grace comes up with it.
There's no doubt that Mark Grace is part of the reason that Sean Dunston has the fielding percentage he has. Sean just flipping the ball over there, and Mark making an excellent play. The farther away from the first baseman the ball bounces, the tougher the play is.
So with one away, I guess Grace likes those throws to be. There's a high, Eddie Williams, a high pop fly, short center field. It's caught in there and soon gone. Nothing to it.
That was Ray Holbert, Harry, who had taken over at shortstop.
Holbert is right. So there's 2 away. Osmus grounded out. Holbert popped out. And here is Bip Roberts. It's 2 out of 3. The only reason he isn't 3 out of 3 is a remarkable play by Sammy Sosa, making a diving backhanded catch of a whistling line drive in the right center. 0-1 the count. Fouled it out of play.
This was the same kind of performance at Pittsburgh for Jamie Navarro. It looked like he was a little shaky around the 4th and 5th innings, and then he settled down and got his team through the 7th, and the same thing looks like it's holding true here today as Brian Hickerson starts loosening.
0-2. Pitch outside. I wonder why I have this hand mic. I better go back to the regular mic. Now the pitch, strike 3 call. And that ends the top of the 7th. So we go to the bottom of the 7th with the Cubs leading 8-2.
Get to know where to place your next bet on Follow the Money on Marquee Sports Network. Vegas veterans Mitch Ross and Paulie Howard host this hour-long show, share their knowledge of sports and gambling.
If they keep that together, who knows what happens with 99 and 2000. Maybe it's a 5-beat right then and there.
Get the most up-to-date information in live odds, predictions, and betting trends from the sports gambling capital of the world. Follow the Money, live weekday mornings at 6 on Marquee Sports Network.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. Knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, and it feels like American muscle, looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy, mow with an attitude.
No one should face breast cancer alone. I'm Janelle Hale, founder and CEO of the National Breast Cancer Foundation. When I was diagnosed in 1980, there was no internet and little information available to make an informed decision. Today at NBCF, we help women at every step of their breast cancer journey. Early detection saved my life. It could save yours too. Learn more at nbcf.org/hope.
Root for the Padres. It's for this 1, 2, 3 strikes.
You're watching the Marquee Mystery Game. We move ahead in the action.
We asked Brian McRae about day baseball in contrast to the many night games he played in Kansas City.
What do you feel about day?
For me, I'm so hyper that I like to play day games. The sooner we get the game going, the better off I am. When I sit around the hotel or sit around the house all day, I'm going crazy. You know, I'd rather get up in the morning and come on out here to the yard and play a game and then get it over with and have the rest of the day to you know, just to spend with my wife and just hang out. For me, this is like spring training. You know, play day games all the time and you get your work done and you're done out of here by 6 o'clock and then have a lot of free time. So I'm enjoying it, and you know, a lot of people say, you know, it cuts into, you know, hanging out and doing some things with your friends at night. But for me, you know, the sooner we play the games, the better off.
And he plays the game. You can tell how much he loves to play. Brian McRae.
Brian Hickerson on the mound.
He's done some fine work for the Cubs.
Well, this is his 7th time out, and he hasn't given up a run yet in 4 1/3 innings, just 4 hits. Walk 1, fan 3, and done a great job out of the pen.
Finley lets a high foul ball being chased. Timmons can't reach it. Ozzie Timmons now playing left field in place of Scott Bullitt.
It's one of the things that Ozzie, along with Scott Bullitt, are going to have to contend with down that left field line is the bullpen mound. And I'm sure as they get a few more games under their belts, they're going to familiarize themselves with that area. It's fairly dangerous coming across the grass, and then you hit the raised part of the mound. And we've seen more than one outfielder trip over that.
Steve Finley, 1 out of 3. Hickerson swung and he struck him out. 1 away. Navarro on the way to his 3rd straight victory. Pitched 7 innings, allowed 7 hits, 2 runs. Walked only 1, fanned only 2. Steady performance. Here's Tony Gwynn. He is 0 for 3. Curveball a little low.
Just the fact that Jamie Navarro held Tony Gwynn 0 for 3 was quite an accomplishment. You don't see that very often.
Ground ball, make it 0 for 4. And Tony Gwynn retired. Dunston to Grace. 0 for 4 today. And I think Jamie Navarro and Nick Hickerson deserve special distinction for holding Tony Gwynn without a hit. There's a high pop foul out of play. Eddie Williams. He was playing softball and semi-pro ball after playing professionally in the San Diego area. When they signed him, sent him to the minor leagues, and soon he's up to the big league. Last year he had 11 homers. Was a productive hitter for San Diego. Two out. The Cubs have had pretty good luck against Tony Gwynn throughout his career. Here's Eddie Williams hitting a long drive. McRae, Brian is there, and he makes the catch. 1, 2, 3. Nothing across. We go into bottom of the 8th, and the Cubs lead 8-2.
Your brain is an amazing thing. But as you get older, it naturally begins to change, causing a lack of sharpness or even trouble with recall. Thankfully, the breakthrough in Prevagen helps your brain and actually improves memory. The secret is an ingredient originally discovered in jellyfish. In clinical trials, Prevagen has been shown to improve short-term memory. Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
I'm Mike Zun,
CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
I got your back, you got mine. Think about you all the time. Together we can come through. That's what love's made of. When we can't be close, we can still be close.
Hey guy. Hi there. Welcome to HIMS.
Should have done it years ago, and I feel like the young stud that I always imagined I was.
Outstanding product. Works above and beyond our expectations.
This has been a life changer, even in just a few weeks.
Featured in GQ, Playboy, and Men's Health. Find out what all the buzz is about.
Go to forhims.com/ed and get started with a free online visit while supplies last.
Harry Carey and Steve Stone. In right field, Phil Clark for the Padres. And Willie Blair is on the mound. Boy, they've waited for Blair. I think he's been a lot like Willie Banks. Showed a lot of promise, but just hasn't been able to get over the hump.
Well, you might remember him with Colorado, Harry. They used him and tried him in a lot of different roles. ERA 11.37 on for the 8th time, so he's really struggled out of the pen for the Padres.
Brian McRae, 1 out of 4, several great catches. I tell you, the star of this game has to be Sammy Sosa with his great defense, followed closely by Ray Sanchez. Sanchez had 3 out of 4. But Sammy has had 3 out of 3. Has batted in 3 runs. Been on base every time. McRae goes on swinging, 1 away.
And you really have to mention Jamie Navarro, Harry, because he cooled off the National League's leading offense. Held him to just 2 runs on a day when the wind was blowing out here, and got a lot of ground balls.
Well, that's always the case, Steve. When a team wins, it's never any one guy. It's a team. There's a ground ball. Sanchez going for his 4th hit of the day. And I think that's what Jim Riggleman has done with this ball club. I don't hear as much I got 3 hits or I got 2 home runs or I did this or I did that. It seems like everybody knows they're part of a team.
And certainly that man is in line for a great deal of the early credit. The guys respect him. I believe that they like playing for him.
1 ball, 2 strikes, 1 out. 8-2 Cubs. Strong, and he missed, and he struck him out. So Sanchez is 3 out of 5 for today. And here's Sammy Sosa hoping to make it a perfect day. He's 3 out of 3 at the plate. He has scored 2 runs and he's batted in 3 runs. And he's made a couple, especially one that robbed Bip Roberts, the men on base early in the ball game. A sensational catch in deep right center. 23,384 here today. 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, I told Alvin Hempill of Hyatt Limo the game would be over by 5 o'clock. I'm going to be very close. Swung and he fouled it back. Is Arlene with you? I can do that. But it's a little early, isn't it? Well, it's only 5. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fouled that out of play. Did you ever get 3 hits in the game? I'll bet you when you played T-ball, huh?
No, and yeah, Little League I did. Pony League, Colt League. Never in the major leagues. I did in the minor leagues, Harry. One day in Amarillo, Texas.
Did they have a newspaper down there so I could check it?
They released the whole pitching staff of the other team.
And Sammy goes down on strikes. 1, 2, 3. And at the end of 8, the Cubs 8 and the Padres 2.
This is a payday bar, and there's only one thing you need to know about it. It has a truckload of peanuts surrounding sweet caramel. I mean, holy, look at all those peanuts. Best part is it helps you get through your day. Payday. Get to it.
What does it take to make the world's most awarded tequila? It takes passion and dedication, down to every drop. It's more than just harvesting the finest blue agave. It's using it in a 200-year-old recipe recognized by tequila experts as the best in its class year over year. So when you choose 1800 Tequila, you choose taste above all. 1800, the best taste in tequila.
Introducing new Voltaren Arthritis Pain Gel, the first and only full prescription strength non-steroidal anti-inflammatory gel available over the counter. New Voltaren is powerful arthritis pain relief in a gel. Voltaren, the joy of movement.
Now is the time to remember that picking each other up is what we all do best. Being a good friend, a good neighbor, a good partner. That's why Enterprise remains open. We're committed to helping essential workers and frontline responders help us all move forward. Because while the distance between us has gotten bigger, the one way we'll get through it is together.
I've been with Nell now for 2.5 years, and I just feel like I am making a difference in her life. I know how much her family relies on me being there. It's about the bond that we form.
At Care.com, you can find the help your mom needs to stay independent at home. Search from lots of local caregivers who can help with meals, housekeeping, personal care, and more. It costs less than you think.
At 98 years old, she's enjoying her life.
Find the senior care help you need. Care.com.
You're watching the Marquee Mystery Game. Let's get back to the action.
Harry Carey back at Wrigley Field. The Cubs will even out their record at home, 3-3. They're 6-1 on the road. They're shooting for their 9th victory of the year. There's a drive, well hit, might be out of here. It is. Holy cow, did he cream that ball. Ken Caminiti, his 3rd home run of the year on the very first pitch of the 9th.
And that is the first run given up by Brian Hickerson, and no doubt about that one. 16th run driven in on his 3rd home run. So Caminiti from the right side really juiced this one. Fastball right down the middle. And no doubt about that swing.
Melvin Nieves. It hits the top of the bus. Look at that. How about that? Here's Fergie Jenkins coming out. They've thrown the ball back in the field, on the field. So it's an 8-3 lead for the Cubs. Melvin Nieves 0 for 2, walked his last time up. Hickerson. 1 ball, no strikes. Everybody else plays tonight under the lights. This is the only day game. The operators at the scoreboard there. Oh, what a play. But he's going to beat it out. A base hit. Buechele made a tremendous play. A diving stop.
Nieves is a better hitter from the right side, and Buechele takes away a double, but can't get the ball out of his glove. By the time he gets it across, they just barely miss Nieves, who doesn't run very well. And watch the reaction. He knows that if he had gotten the ball out of the glove, he'd have made a spectacular play. So Brian Johnson now coming on to pinch hit.
Here comes Jim Riggleman, and that may be all for Hickerson. They want the right-hander to come in. Mike Walker will be the new pitcher for the Cubs. Walker's done a pretty good job over the course of the season.
He inherits Nieves at first base. He does not have particularly good speed, and Walker comes into the ball game for the 8th time. 0-1, 2.57 ERA. And Brian Johnson coming on to pinch hit.
There's a line drive going to be caught by Sammy Sosa. Johnson hit the ball right on the button. He came off the bench swinging and lined to Sosa. Another pinch hitter coming out, maybe. And remember, the same 2 teams tomorrow. 1:20 baseball time. 1 o'clock leadoff man.
Scott Livingstone coming on the pinch hit, hitting an even 250 this year. But 3 for 6 with a couple of runs batted in as a pinch hitter.
Left-hand hitter against Mike Walker, the pitch. 1 strike and nothing. This will even out this home season for the Cubs. 3 victories, 3 losses if they win. Fouled it off. He hit that ball right out of the catcher's glove. Wilkins, meaning he got around very late. 0-2.
Harry, that's Roberto Pettagini on the on-deck circle.
He struck him out, a sinking fastball. How about Jamie Navarro? He's the most interested observer here. This will give him a perfect record, 3-0. Now, how do we decide? Hey, we found out this boy's Italian, isn't he?
Well, his father was, and they told me the pronunciation was Pettagini. And whatever it is, Harry, he can hit. Hitting .467 this year.
Pettagini it is. There's a line drive left center field on the first pitch. And here comes Nieves surrounding third. He's going to score. And Pettagini lines a double to left center.
Eventually, I think the Padres are going to have to make room for Roberto. He came over from Houston, and he's done nothing but hit the ball right on the button as he slices this ball into left center. Drives in the 4th Padre run and the 4th run of the year for Roberto.
Let's see. Fergie comes out again. We ought to get him a little cart right out to the mound. You know who's getting ready down there? Mike Perez, the right-hander, and Randy Myers, the left-hander.
Lyon Dickerson, 1 inning, 2 hits, 2 runs, both earned, 1 strikeout, 1 home run.
Swings and fouls it back. 2 runs are in. 2 out. Bip Roberts. This should be the ball game. Cubs win. The Cubs win again, and they now are 9-5 in a first-place tie with Houston. And the crowd loves it, and so does Jim, the manager, as he walks out to the mound. Jim Rigerman, who used to manage San Diego, takes his time slowly walking out to the mound. Well, a good day's work. Fine performance, fine pitching, timely hitting, sensational defensive play, and that's about as good as you can get.
Well, I think that Jim Riggleman's very happy about the offense back here at Wrigley Field. The Cubs finally looking like they did on their road trip, hitting the baseball with authority, taking advantage of their home park. They're now 3-3 back here in Chicago. And this is a good way to start off the series. The Padres, a good offensive club, held down most of today. And Jamie Navarro picking up his 3rd win of the year, and just as importantly, for the 3rd straight start, going 7 innings. And that takes middle relief right out of it as far as the bullpen is concerned. So, Harry, you got to be pretty happy about the Cub ball game today.
You know, I can't believe that Andy Bennis, the fine young pitcher of the Padres, is 9-3 with a high run average that he did not lower today, as he was touched for 7 runs on 7 hits. So Bennis, ordinarily an outstanding pitcher, has gotten away to a very slow start.
Thanks for reliving this Marquee Mystery Game on Marquee Sports Network.
Hi, and how are you? Thanks for tuning in, and welcome to Play at Home Trivia presented by Miller Lite, Marquee Sports Network. I'm Chris Myers, and we have a special show for you today. You'll notice that I'm wearing a jacket. That's because for the first time, we have 2 contestants who have each won previously on this program, now going head-to-head.
He was always on my side. He had my back, but today I'm looking to put him on his back.
That maybe I could carry you out and maybe get you in the late innings, you know? I mean, that was my strategy all along.
I'm going to go with D, 5.
That is correct.
C, 2 people.
That is correct.
E, Addison.
Well, that's correct. That was a good guess.
C, Cole Hamels at Wrigley Field.
Absolutely correct.
Come on, this guy, nothing got by him. He's the answer. Greg Maddux. Guile? I mean...
Yes! Wow! Is that was that your best?
He got that.
9.
Oh my
9?
God! Yo! You shouldn't have brought that reliever in, Gio. That was a bad idea.
Miller Park.
Yeah.
That was awesome. I told you he's an encyclopedia, man.
So let's welcome Ryan Dempster, 16-year Major League veteran, 9 with the Cubs, and you see going against Carlos Pena, 14-year veteran, and you can't help but notice. You know, I put a coat on, Ryan, you look like you're going to go out and pitch here. You're taking this seriously.
I am, Chris, you know, and like I'm a smiler. I like to have a good time, but I also got to show that I'm game ready. So I'm game ready. I blacked up. I even went, I went full uni, belt and everything.
Oh my God.
I'm ready for Carlos Pena. I want him to bring it. Let's go.
Hey, listen, man. I see you. I knew you were going to come ready, but I'm also ready, son. Got my gladiator helmet, brother. Ready to roll.
Oh, my goodness.
Are you ready to be entertained? Are you ready to be entertained? Ready to battle.
Ryan, Dempster has been the favorite and set the standard. We might need to hear you, Carlos, through the broadcast. You could save that for later. Carlos was an upset winner over Dan Plesac to reach this matchup. Now, you guys were teammates at one point, Carlos, but you faced Ryan Dempster when he was on the mound, correct? You remember?
Yeah, that's right.
3 times.
I'm going to do the whole show with the Gladiator helmet. Is that all right?
Don't hide
that
beautiful face, man.
Yeah, you work hard to you work hard for your.
I'm gonna mess up my mouth.
Head to head.
My mouth.
That's right, your hair. That's all right.
All right,
wow.
here we go.
Okay. And so you were, by the way, 0 for 2 with a walk when you faced him. So we look forward to this. Hang on, folks. We do have Chris Antonacci-Notch, our researcher statistician. He'll fact check and keep us honest in the later lightning round. The format's simple. We play a 9-inning game. You guys have been through it. Multiple choice. Questions get a little tougher. You can get more runs. You can steal some runs in the 7th. You're on the clock. A lightning round with a list option. And then, of course, it's never over until the walk-off question. So if everybody's ready, theatrics at all, time to play. Play-at-home trivia presented by Miller Lite. Category, studying your opponents. Which team drafted Carlos Pena 10th overall in the 1998 Major League Baseball draft? Was it A, the Tigers, B, the Texas Rangers, C, the Oakland A's, or D, the Tampa Bay Rays?
I'm going to go with the A, the Detroit Tigers.
And that is incorrect. It was interesting because it was the Texas Rangers who, Ryan, they also drafted you in 95 in the 3rd round. Same organization. All right, Carlos, early chance for the lead. There, we may have an upset in the opening inning. Ryan Dempster.
Don't speak too soon.
I know. Ryan Dempster is he's second on the all-time list for most innings pitched by a Canadian-born pitcher. Who is first? Is it A, Cy Young, B, Randy Johnson, C, James Paxton, or D, Fergie Jenkins?
Oh my God.
You want to repeat those again? Cy Young, Randy Johnson, James Paxton, or Fergie Jenkins, a Canadian-born pitcher.
Exactly.
Who is?
I know Jenkins. No, I'm gonna go with Jenkins. He was born in Canada. I was. What is?
That's correct. Yes, that is correct.
Flacada, man. There you have it. Okay, calm down. I got it. Calm down.
All right, it's a 1-0 lead. A second inning. Here we go.
Okay.
Former Cub pitchers have beat all 30 Major League Baseball teams in their career. Which one of these that we're going to name has not accomplished that feat? Is it A, John Lester, B, John Lackey, C, Jamie Moyer, or D, Dan Herron? Who has not defeated all 30 teams? Former Cubs pitcher.
I'm gonna go with I gotta say Dan Herron.
No, incorrect. It's surprisingly John Lester, and the only team Lester has yet to defeat the Red Sox, of course, whom he played for, which is interesting. So, all right,
you sneaky dog! Yeah.
All right, Carlos can add to his lead. Here we go. Which one of these former Cub pitchers never homered in the postseason, Carlos? Never homered. A, Travis Wood, B, Kerry Wood, C, Carlos Zambrano, or D, Jake Arrieta? Can he add to his 1-0 lead? Okay.
I honestly don't know, but I know you're a tricky guy. So what I'm going to do is you're tricky. So I'm going to go, I don't know. But the guy with the biggest power in that group is Carlos Zambrano. And I'm going to go that Carlos didn't hit a home run in the postseason.
That's amazing. He knows the tricky host. That is correct. Absolutely. and that is a shocker. Big Z, only pitcher, never hit a postseason homer. Had one hit in the postseason. It was a double back in 2007 against the Diamondbacks in the NLDS. Okay, so wow, it's a 2-0 advantage for Carlos Pena. We go to the 3rd inning. Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout game. Which Astros player was the only one to get a hit off Kerry Wood during that 20 strikeout game? Now, I know you used to stay up late at night looking at baseball cards, encyclopedias here. So who is it? Is it A, Craig Biggio, B, Jeff Bagwell, C, Ricky Gutierrez, or D, Brad Osmus?
I'm starting to find my comfort zone now, Chris. I've been down 2-0 plenty of times in my career. This is where I start to thrive. So I'm going to go with C, Ricky Gutierrez.
That is absolutely correct. A single to lead off the third. Craig Biggio was hit by it. They were the only two to reach base that day. Absolutely incredible. All right, so Dempster is in a groove. He gets his first run of the game here. So here you go, Carlos. Who was the Cubs catcher? Who was the catcher during Kerry Wood's 20 strikeout performance? A, Joe Girardi, B, Scott Service, C, Giovanni Soto, or D, Sandy Martinez?
I'm not going to count my chickens before they hatch, you know, my eggs before they hatch. But let me tell you, Sandy Martinez played with me with the Licey Tigers in Dominican Republic Winter League. So I know this 100%. It was Sandy Martinez.
That is absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. That's a tough question. He started only 20 games that season, but was a strong catcher. Ryan, did you know that by chance or no? That was a tough one.
Yeah, that right there was Bill Walton going in for the easy hoop, Chris. That was just a layup.
Carlos has done his homework.
I don't think so.
He's got a.
That's the only chance. That's the only reason why I know that is because I played with him in the Winter League. He was my teammate, and that's one of his career highlights. You know, so we used to talk about that, and he used to say that the nastiest pitcher he's ever seen, you know, in one particular moment was that night, Kerry Wood. He was absolutely unhittable, obviously.
I didn't know you had such a tie in a pipeline, but that's what it takes to kind of keep Ryan Dempster on his heels. It's a 3-1 Carlos lead here. Coming up, the questions will get a little tougher. We're going to talk about the food scene at Wrigley Field as we continue Play at Home Trivia presented by Miller Lite.
I'm Mike Zenn, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
Sport has the power to unite. It has the power to build communities. It has the power to break down barriers and allow people to feel as though they're on equal footing with one another. We at Cubs Charities have the ability to do some critical work right now, utilizing the power that sports has in building community, in inspiring hope, and uniting a city.
Get to know where to place your next bet on Follow the Money on Marquee Sports Network. Vegas veterans Mitch Ross and Paulie Howard host this hour-long show, share their knowledge of sports and gambling.
If they keep that together, who knows what happens in 99 and 2000. Maybe it's a 5-beat right then and there.
Get the most up-to-date information in live odds, predictions, and betting trends from the sports gambling capital of the world. Follow the Money, live weekday mornings at 6 on Marquee Sports Network.
Hope you're enjoying Play at Home Trivia, presented by Miller Lite on Marquee Sports Network. And checking the old-time scoreboard, it's a bit of an upset here. Carlos leading Ryan Dempster by the score of 3-1. But as we heard, Ryan came in as the favorite. He said he's been down before, not a concern. But here's a chance as we go to the fourth inning. These are worth 2 runs. Chicago icons. Theo Epstein made national headlines. If you remember, he was spotted near Wrigley Field at an establishment before interviewing for the Cubs president of baseball operations, that role that he had in 2011 that he was going for. So which establishment was it? Was it A, Dunkin' Donuts, B, McDonald's, C, Taco Bell, or D, Starbucks?
Chris, that's an easy one. I mean, not only do I remember, but if I had to guess, Theo Epstein had to go to Starbucks, get his coffee, you know, doing his studying. It's most definitely Starbucks. I could have guessed that. Absolutely correct. You could tell you pay close attention. He had, when he would be in line, you know, he had two phrases he would say. When people say, "Hey, you're Theo Epstein," you know how the fans are. He said, "I'm not him, but I get that a lot." And then his other line was, "Who's Theo Epstein?" Which is kind of a cool thing. All right, so he nails that. Worth 2. It's a 5-1. Carlos Pena, the gladiator, is like dominating here, but a chance for Dempster to respond. Here we go, Ryan. Which one of these major league teams did Harry Carey not call games for prior to joining the Cubs booth? So who did he not call games for? A, the Brewers,
B, the White Sox, C, the Athletics, or D, the Cardinals?
Well, everybody
Brewers,
knows the
White
answer is the Brewers, Chris. Not more than
It's
I do
absolutely
if you ever call a game.
But that's very good. I thought the A's too, but I guess it was just 1 year, apparently, back in 1970 with the Oakland A's. But that's a very good Harry Carey.
Charlie Finley was
All
never
right.
afraid of bringing a good time into Oakland, and he made sure he brought Harry over there for a year.
He was creative with the different colored baseballs and bringing all kinds of animals on the field back before people did that type of thing. All right, now we go to the fifth here, Carlos. Again, worth 2 runs. Which former Cub manager said 1, 2, 3? It's not that hard, in reference to a player who forgot how many outs there were. Was the manager A, Joe Madden, B, Dusty Baker, C, Lou Piniella, or D, Don Baylor?
I know
He's
this.
smiling. Do you know this? He
know
knows this.
However, even if I didn't know and I had to guess, it would have to be Lou Piniella. Lou Piniella.
You have said absolutely correct. Sweet Lou, it was at a post-game press conference, 2009. The player, Milton Bradley, forgot right through the ball into the stands that there was only 2 outs instead of 3. It allowed a run to score. Let's see how he knew. Ryan, he was gearing up for this. I mean, your reputation around all of our shows, everybody who's come on Play at Home has said, boy, I got to be up to Ryan Dempster. I saw him and he was fired up. So Carlos must have done a lot of research. Here we go. Which former Cubs player once said, talent is part of the equation, but when you combine talent with accountability and authenticity, it's tough to beat. As a former Cubs player, what he's A, Ben Zobrist, B, David Ross, C, Derek Lee, or D, Mark Grace.
D. Lee didn't talk much, so I'm not thinking it's D. Lee. He was always really quiet. Not Zoe. That's way over Rossi's head. I'm going to have to go with D, Mark Grace.
Wow. Okay. No, that's incorrect. It was David Ross. It's a quote from his book, Teammate, published in May of 2017 after he retired as a player following the season, the 2016 World Series season, and with the Cubs, of course, winning the championship. That was a quote in the book. Talent part of the equation, but when you combine talent with accountability and authenticity, it's tough to beat. Sounds like a manager to me, and we can't wait to see him manage. But meanwhile, I know you're hurting there, Ryan.
I'm in big trouble, not because I'm down to Carlos, but because I told David I read his book, and it turns out I didn't.
And it was when you said it was way over his head. I'm sure he's going to love that remark. So it went with Mark Grace. Now to the 6th inning. Which famous fast food chain was located on Addison and Clark in Wrigleyville before being demolished in 2018? Was it A, McDonald's, B, Burger King, C, Taco Bell, or D, Wendy?
I would have to say Taco Bell.
That is correct. C, he hit another one. Fans and players used to go there for some 24, 25 years before it was demolished. So that's a 9-3 advantage.
Did you know
remember,
that?
It's never over.
Did you know that?
Of course.
I feel like I'm pitching in Coors Field right now with this score. That's exactly how it feels. I'm not going to lie.
I'm telling you, I'm going to stay calm.
All right.
I'm going to stick with my approach.
Here's one that, let's see how deep he goes with food here. Which one of these ingredients, Ryan, is not in a Chicago sandwich that's sold at Wrigley Field? Is not. All right. Chicken thigh A, cheddar cheese B, tomatoes C, or celery salt D.
I've crushed that sandwich a few times, Chris, and I know it's cheddar cheese. They do not put cheddar cheese on there.
Very good. All right. He did. See, he knows his food even when he's pitching at the ballpark and enjoying it. All right, a comeback. There you go. So there's the human Google when it comes to food at Wrigley. All right, coming up. It's a little bit tougher because no more multiple choice. We have a lightning round. We also have a chance where you can steal some runs. This could be Dempster's specialty. So an upset brewing, but a lot more to go on Play at Home Trivia presented by Miller Lite. Stay tuned.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. Knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, And it feels like American muscle, looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy. Mow with an attitude.
It's a new day, a new time. And through it all, through the challenges, through the concern, Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois is here, bringing you the care, comfort, and calm you've always depended on. In sickness and in health, we are in this together. We'll get through this together. So for a trusted resource, take heart in knowing Blue Cross is standing by you, with you, and for you, through it all.
We will get our momentum back. Our businesses back, our smiles back, ourselves back. Because that's what this community does. At First Midwest Bank, we want to thank our colleagues for doing everything they can to help our clients and our communities get through this. Because we are all in this together. And together, we will get our momentum back. First Midwest Bank.
Nice to have you watching Play at Home Trivia presented by Miller Lite, former Cubs and both of them former All-Stars. And we have an upset brewing as we check the old-time scoreboard. You see that Carlos has that 9-5 lead. But this is a chance without multiple choice for someone to pick up a couple of runs and maybe steal two if his opponent doesn't answer the question properly. Again, we're at 2 runs in the category Historical Moments. What former Cubs All-Star led all Major League Baseball players in hits throughout the 90s? Can you name him?
I used his answer when I lost a friend in David Ross earlier in the show, so I'm going to go with Mark Grace on this one.
That is absolutely correct for 2 more runs. So he tightens things up. You also, it was a great, we had a Cubs 360, the inaugural roundtable with you and Lou Piniella and Glanville, and of course Mark Grace was a part of that as well. All right, so Carlos, the pressure is on here at 9-7. If you don't answer this, then Ryan will have a chance to steal it and tie the game. So here's, remember the category Historical Moments for Carlos. Who is the pitcher that Travis Wood homered off of to become the first relief pitcher to hit a home run in the postseason since 1924?
Man, maybe I should consult my lifeline right here. What do you think?
Well, that gives you strength. Is that your gladiator helmet? You came out strong.
I have no idea.
You want to give us a guess? They'll throw it up. You might as well. If not, because he's got. Otherwise, we go to Ryan.
Andrew Miller? I don't know.
Okay, no, that is incorrect. But let's see now if Ryan Dempster, the human Google, as you called him, can answer this and tie the game. So what do you got? Ryan?
I really don't, because I'm struggling right now, and I can't remember if he hit it in 2015 or 2016. And so I'm going to go with I think I'm going to go with 2015, and I'm going to go against the Cardinals, and I'm going to say with a left-handed reliever name Zach Duke.
No, incorrect. You broke it down nicely, but you had it was the other year of 2016. It was off George Contos in the NLDS. Remember in the game 2, it was in the 4th inning, and that's absolutely amazing. So it stays a 9-7 game, but you cut into it. All right, now we're on the clock, and in 30 seconds you have to name, and you guys have been through this routine before here. You have to name each answer. You get a run for it, and the person trailing gets to choose the category. The other contestant gets what's left. So we go to you, Ryan, since you're down 2. Do you want World Series MVPs or do you want National League MVPs? Which category?
Let's go with World Series MVPs.
Name the 11 World Series MVPs for the 2000s, that decade, from 2000 to 2009. And there's a hint. There were 2 players named co-MVPs one year. So that's why there are 11 names, but only 10 possible choices that can give you a run. And if you're ready, set, and go.
Mariano Rivera and John Wetland. Oh, that was too early. Let's go with Jermaine Dye. Let's go with David Eckstein. Let's go with Manny Ramirez. Ben Zobrist. Let's go with Josh Beckett.
5 seconds.
Let's go with Carlos Correa.
Time is up. Time is up, Ryan. So you left out Derek Jeter, and we have Chris Antonacci, our researcher.
Yeah.
If we go back, it was Randy Johnson and Kurt Schilling was the combo. And Notch, how many?
2001.
Kurt Schilling. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. Ryan picked up 4 runs. He nailed all 4 of them from 2003 to 2006.
All right. And he got. So what was one? Troy Gloss we left out. Right, was one that we missed. But
Yes.
that's pretty good. That gives you an 11-9 lead. So you now have a 2-run lead. All right. So Carlos, you named the 9 different NL MVPs from 1990 to 2000. Name as many as you can. Ready and go.
Barry Bonds, Sammy Sosa, King Caminiti, Barry Larkin,
15
Terry
seconds.
Pendleton, Jeff Kent, Larry Walker,
5 seconds.
Sammy Sosa, Barry Larkin. I said Barry
Time
Larkin.
is up. Okay, that's all. You got a few. The time is up. Time is up. Let's see. Let's check how many. I was trying to keep tabs. You have the lead back. I think you got, 6 or 7 correct?
Carlos picked up 7 of the 9. Carlos picked up 7 of the 9. He only missed Jeff Bagwell
Wow.
and Chipper Jones.
Wow.
Oh,
So he
wow.
actually expanded.
I know Barry Bonds won a bunch, so.
Barry won 3 during that time.
92, 93, 90. That was interesting. All right, so he actually added to his lead, Ryan, which makes it more dramatic.
I'm in
as
big
we
trouble.
head to the night. It's a 16-11. This is a typical Wrigley game. So here's the drama, because you're never out of it with the walk-off question. As we head to the commercial here, will return, but the topic, and you can wager the amount of runs you want to put on the line based on this topic. You'll get the question when we return. But the topic is Cubs trades in the last 10 years. Cubs trades in the last 10 years, and you can wager as many runs as you have, but remember, if you get it wrong, you lose those runs. You get it right, you get those runs. Carlos leads Ryan, but we'll see how this one turns out. We continue with the walk-off answer to the question on Play at Home Trivia.
I am Robert Strickler. I've been involved in communications in the media for 45 years. I've been taking Prevagen on a regular basis for at least 8 years. For me, the greatest benefit over the years has been that Prevagen seems to help me recall things and also think more clearly. And I enthusiastically recommend Prevagen. It has helped me an awful lot.
Prevagen, healthier brain, better life.
Play at Home Trivia presented by Miller Lite, and the dramatic conclusion. Remember, with our walk-off question, you're never totally out of it. And as we check the old-time scoreboard, you see that an upset in the making with Carlos Pena leading by 5 runs, 16-11, over Ryan Dempster. The question we asked before, and we asked you to wager the amount of runs you had, the confidence you had. You can wager as many runs as you have on the board based on the topic of Cubs trades. And what did you both? You want to hold up what you wagered? If we can see Ryan, and let's see, 2. Carlos Pena wagers 2 runs, and Ryan Dempster 11. So that means if you both get it right, Ryan Dempster rallies to win. So that means Carlos Pena will be the first one to take on the question. And here it is.
That's all his runs. That's unbelievable.
That's right. You played it a little safer, right? You write down your answer with your wager. So who was the pitching prospect traded by the Cubs to the Rays for Matt Garza before the 2011 season? Who was the pitching prospect traded by the Cubs to the Rays for Matt Garza before that season in 2011? The gap narrowed by Ryan Dempster. And then a 5-run advantage as we came to the 9th. And gentlemen, hold up your answers. The pitching prospect traded by the Cubs. And hold them up, please, along with the runs wagered. If you could hold up your answers for Matt Garza. Gentlemen, ready? At the same time, go ahead. We can hold them up. It's a slow draw there. This is like, we see 11 runs. We see 2 runs. And right below that, we see Chris Archer for Ryan Dempster. And I can't read. Carlos has what?
Woodward.
Oh, Woodward. All right, well, there it is. Ryan Dempster rallies to win by the score of what?
Oh, you gotta be kidding me. You gotta be kidding me, bro.
It was Chris Archer, the two-time All-Star and current pitcher with the Pirates. Remember, an 8-player deal. Well, you knew that right away, Ryan, didn't you? You didn't have to.
Yeah,
I'm just thanking the fans.
And he got all
right now.
dramatic. He knew it right away.
You gotta like dig down deep. I had a chance in Boston to play with Big Papi, and there was always those big moments when he came up with the Grand Slam. I just channeled my inner Big Papi right there, and it was a heck of an effort. You came out fighting with that gladiator, and you know what? They were entertained. That's right.
Yes, you're entertained. But the guy in the Cubs uni,
I can't believe it.
Pulls it out.
You got him.
Yeah,
I can't believe it.
You're going to have to put that on the shelf, Carlos, until next time. In our first matchup of previous winners on Play at Home, it's Ryan Dempster, the human Googler at his Cubs unit. He came to play, had the eye black and everything. And
I knew he was. I knew, Chris. I knew he was sandbagging me the whole time. I knew it. And when I heard the question, I was like, oh, here we go. Now he's gonna become Google on me. He's gonna become the human encyclopedia on me, and he delivered.
And it all paid off. It was an entertaining game. I think the folks were all so glued to the set here, saying, "Wait a minute, can Dempster blow?" He came back and won it. And so, because of that, during these unprecedented times, Marquee Sports Network, its partners, along with Ryan, you guys want to impact the local communities in any way we can. And so, for this episode, on behalf of all of us at Miller Lite, donating $500 to Paws Chicago. It's an animal rescue foundation, and each episode, a different local charity will receive a donation. So I thank you both for playing, being good sports. Any parting words? Ryan, you recovered from an early deficit. You never seemed panicked here. You were under control even in the late innings.
I am perspirating quite a bit underneath here. I'm going to have to change my undershirt after this. But, and just like at the plate, it's always a battle when you're facing Carlos at anything in life. And I'm just fortunate right now that I came ahead. And, I hope that when I move on to the next round, I do him a little bit of justice.
He stays undefeated. Wow. Carlos, you put up a good fight, and thanks for love the uniform. He came to play and stays undefeated. Ryan Dempster. For Carlos Pena, I'm Chris Myers, our entire crew. Thanks a lot for watching here. Be safe at home. We'll see you next time here on Play at Home on Marquee Sports Network.
Hey, Cole Wright back again. It is time for another fun-filled edition of Cubs 360 presented by Miller Lite. And today, we're going to take a closer look at the Cubs' decision to sign Yu Darvish and let Jake Arrieta walk. Was it the right decision? Of course, we'll discuss. Plus, we'll talk about the worst first pitches in the history of baseball. And I know our panelists, they've seen many first pitches, and they've seen some good and some bad. So let's meet them. It's Bruce Levine, it's Jim DeShays, and it is Pete McMurray. And Pete, I know you're a big-time soap opera fan, and guys like Sands Through the Hourglass, these are the days of our baseball lives, because we're hoping to get back to some sense of normalcy in Major League Baseball. And the Players Association, well, they continue their negotiations over the return-to-play proposal, and now they have started to exchange financial figures. That's good news. Now, the owner's economic portion of the proposal called for a further cut in salaries, with the highest-paid players taking the biggest hit. Now, as Major League Baseball reportedly targets June 10th for the start of spring training and early July for the regular season to get underway, the NBA and NHL, well, they're already making plans to resume their campaigns. Now, the playoffs, they could stretch over July, August, and September. And as we know, college football, that kicks off as early as August 29th. Now, the NFL season, it's scheduled to start on September 10th when the Houston Texans pay a visit to the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. Now, guys, as we know, Major League Baseball, they may have some summer competition with the NBA and NHL playoffs. So, Bruce, what does this mean for baseball? Do you think there needs to be some sort of adjustment made?
Yeah, the adjustment is they better get their act together right now and get the season going, because the summer months, as we've talked about before, are usually owned by baseball. June, July, after the NBA Finals and NHL Finals, it's all baseball until training camp for the NFL. So this year, you're going to have head-to-head competition. You're going to have to get it going quickly, and you're going to have to get it going right. So there is certainly a period of time here where they must get going and off quickly. There's no, kind of slowly getting into it. A 1-8 start might mean the end of your chances to make the playoffs, even expanded to 14 teams. So this is going to be good for baseball, that the games are more important more quickly, and the fact that you're going to have 14 playoff teams is what we expect. That's going to help as well.
Yeah, it's a great point, Bruce. The nature of the game is going to be a little bit more intense early on because it is a shrunken schedule. As to the competition with the other sports, I don't think there's any way you can avoid that. It's just the nature of this pandemic. It's kind of rearranged the baseball calendar and the sporting calendar. So everybody's going to be competing for the eyes and the ears of fans. But I think the appetite is going to be pretty strong, though, isn't it? I mean, we saw it with The Last Dance, how many people tuned into that. We saw it with the Tiger Woods, Mickelson, Brady, Manning golf show. People are starving for live sporting events. So I think baseball is going to do just fine once they get back on the field and can, present their product to the fans. Obviously, there will be competition, but the appetite is really strong.
I've said this from the beginning. The first major sport out of the box is going to have a huge advantage over the others. And who would have thought that the NHL would step up? I can't believe it. But the NHL and NBA have always competed with baseball in the spring, and you've had college football and the NFL competing with baseball in the fall. But the difference this year, as you guys said, is the shortened season. And JD brought it up. It's the hungry sports fan. So you're going to have the NHL, the NBA playoffs, and hopefully baseball will start. Then you'll have college football, and then you'll have the Kentucky Derby, then the NFL. So you starve this sports fan for 90 days, for 3 months, and then you take the next 4 months and you throw everything into it. And this is what baseball needs to do. And everybody hit the nail on the head. They need to cut a deal because you have hungry sports fans out there that are going to be watching. NHL, NBA, NFL, baseball can't be left out of that mix.
Okay, JD, how about this? With the NHL, the NBA, potentially college football, and the NFL all going on when Major League Baseball is in the quote-unquote dog days of summer, how does baseball get a little more creative to maybe gain a few more viewers?
Yeah, well, I think just the essence of the shorter schedule makes it somewhat creative in that the games will have more meaning because there's fewer of them. So, let's start there. I think that will enhance the product a little bit. And then, I think, a lot of hot mics down at field level where you can pick up conversations on the field, in the dugout. I think that's a great idea. I think that'll bring fans into the game a little bit more to kind of give them a feel of being in the ballpark. I think there's that kind of fine line that you have to walk, because you want to be creative, you want to present the game maybe a little bit differently you have in the past, but at the same time, you're going to have a lot of people that they just want a sense of normalcy, so they're going to want the game to kind of feel and sound and look like the game they know and love. So that's the whole issue here. You want to give them something else to look at, make it a little bit more interesting, perhaps, without going crazy.
Yeah, but it's going to have to be livened up a little bit. You're going to have to throw some things out there. And Mike Santini of the Marquee Network was experimenting with the Javi Cam in spring training. So a camera in the grass that picks up all the movement and all the moves of Javier Baez as the game's going on. Those type of novel things, those type of innovative technical things are something that baseball can not only experiment with, but use to its advantage to market the sport very quickly as they bounce back. So I think there's a lot of great ideas that can come out there, and we're going to see some of that innovation, I think, very quickly in baseball.
Competition makes you better. This is going to be great for baseball because they're going to have to experiment with things like the hot mic, which I think we all agree on we want to see more of, or the mic in the grass. But with all these sports competing, baseball is going to have to step up their game. So we will see probably some experiments this summer if they start playing.
Well, yeah, like JD said, it's going to be a quicker start because essentially it's going to be the second half of the season all season long. And we're just getting started right here on Cubs 360. And as we know, 2020, it's going to be unlike any other season that we've ever seen. So how about this? Does David Ross have an edge over the rest of the game skippers? We're going to tell you why he may. That's next right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Stick around.
Every weekday night, tune into the stadium.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred wants to play as many games as possible as soon as possible.
If this 2020 Cubs team wants to get back to where they were at in 2016, I think David Ross is going to be the right guy to lead them there.
If there was something that we could do to help stop the spread.
Common Man is looking for 1 or 2 or 3 mans. We decided to help the common man.
The Stadium, weeknights at 7 on Marquee Sports Network. Presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
When you're home, there's nothing like enjoying a classic with a classic. Miller Lite, great taste and only 96 calories.
Restaurants are our family, the cornerstone of our communities. And our family needs help. Right now, they're facing a crisis, and they're counting on your takeout and delivery orders to help them through. Because if we don't treat restaurants like family today, they might not be around to treat us like family tomorrow. Grubhub. Together, we can help save the restaurants we love.
I got your back, you got mine. Think about you all the time. Together we can come through. That's what love's made of. When we can't be close, we can still be close.
Drives out in the left, number 100. 5-1.
See the ball, hit the ball, and that was David Ross hitting his 100th career home run on to Waveland Avenue, and it was 4 years ago to the day. Now, Rossi, of course, finished his career, hit the second World Series ring in that 2016 campaign. And get a load of this. Out of every current Major League manager, the Cubs skipper played his last game more than 5 years after anyone else. The Brewers, Craig Counsell, and the Rangers, Chris Woodward, they ended their playing days in 2011. And back here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite with Bruce, JD, and Pete. And JD, there's no doubt that 2020 is going to be a challenge for David Ross, but do you think that he has an edge, being that his playing days are so much closer than all the rest of the skippers in the league?
Possibly. When you evaluate David Ross as a manager, doesn't have a lot of experience. This is his first time doing it. He does it in the midst of this pandemic where the spring training comes to a screeching halt. So there's a lot of things that he has to deal with that are very difficult for any manager, let alone a first-time manager. But yeah, he's not that far removed from being on the field. He knows these players very well. I know this much about David Ross. He's a grinder. He's a very hard worker, and I'm sure he's spending a lot of time during this downtime crunching numbers, talking to players, talking to his analytical people, and preparing for the upcoming season. I think David Ross has the kind of skill set that would serve him well, regardless of the situation as an incoming manager. So I don't know that it's an advantage for David. I just feel very comfortable that he's going to be a good big league manager.
Well, JD, they say catchers make the best managers, right? And David Ross, as a player, he was a good player, but he was a coach on the bench. Here's the good news about Rossi. He doesn't have to deal with the April grind here in Chicago with the bad weather, and he doesn't have to deal with the slow bats in May. But the bad news is he has to hit the ground running. You have a mature club. You have questions with Chris Bryant, and you need to win right away. I love David Ross. I think he's a smart guy, but one thing you need to take into consideration is he's never managed a major league game. I hope David Ross wins the World Series, but he has yet to manage a real major league game. So to me, that seems like a huge disadvantage.
Well, there's 10 managers that are managing in their cities for the first time. 4 of them have never managed in the big leagues before, and David is one of those. But I think the advantage for David is the continuity in the organization. So from the day he retired until he was named manager last November, there was always this consistency of him being involved with the organization, being there for spring training, going out and scouting guys, looking at guys like Kimbrel before they sign. So there is that continuity, even for young players that never played with him, that, yeah, that's a guy that's important around here. He's going to be here for a long time. And that is what we're looking at with Ross coming in. So I think there is a distinct advantage for him having been with this organization for a long time and the respect that was built up even before he takes over as manager.
Okay, well, surprise, surprise. Pete's down there on the end harping on David Ross for never managing a game. But Pete, you know, he has a relationship with some of these players, being that he played with them. So that has to give him some sort of an edge, right?
Well, that's the million-dollar question. Can you manage your friends? Can you tell Anthony Rizzo what to do, or Chris Bryant? I don't know how that's going to work. I think that's the million-dollar question. But my point is, David Ross, his first 20 games goes 6-14. Does he freak out? He can't look to the past. He is at a major disadvantage because he doesn't know what to do because he can't compare it to anything.
Yeah, and I would agree with you on that point, Pete. I think the biggest disadvantage for David as a first-time manager, he doesn't have much of a break-in period, right? Because it is essentially a half a season that he's going to have to, you know, get up and running. And every new manager I've ever talked to at the big league level, even guys that manage in the minor league level and have some experience, they're always fooled by the pace of the game. We always talk about how slow the game of baseball is. But when you're in that hot seat in the corner of the dugout, things come on you in a hurry. So, you know, he just doesn't have that break-in period that you would have in a 162-game schedule. That's going to be the biggest challenge. But again, I feel pretty comfortable that he's going to be up to the challenge.
Yeah, and JD, that break-in period, he won't see those frigid temperatures in April, but he will see the mercury rise in July. So let's hope that he's able to stay calm under the pressure. Now, more to come right here on Cubs 360, including the Cubs. As we know, they let Jake Arrieta walk when they locked up Yu Darvish. That was 2 years ago. Was that the right choice? An examination next right here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite.
What does it take to make the world's most awarded tequila? It takes passion and dedication, down to every drop. It's more than just harvesting the finest blue agave. It's using it in a 200-year-old recipe recognized by tequila experts as the best in its class year over year. So when you choose 1800 Tequila, you choose taste above all. 1800, the best taste in tequila.
At Domino's, we think it's important to look on the bright side right now.
I finally got some toilet paper on Monday.
Almost every night, me and my family have had dinner together, which we haven't done in years.
You know, enjoying the fam with the little guy?
I really like that I can wear yoga pants every day.
And you can still get specialty chicken, stuffed cheesy bread, medium 2-topping pizzas, or any 2 or more mix and match items for just $5.99 each. So that's something else to be glad about.
I'm just glad I don't have to share with you guys.
That's the spirit.
Introducing. Oh, and right after that, we had to stop production on my first ad as owner of Mint Mobile because, you know. So instead of an epic ad, I created an epic slide. Mint Mobile is premium wireless for just $15 a month. Crazy, right? See, slides can be compelling. Ooh, thank you, Slide. Oh, the Mint Fox.
Motorcycle riders love the open road, and Geico loves helping riders get to where they're going. So to help even more, Geico is giving new and current customers a 15% credit on their motorcycle policies with the Geico Give Back. And because we're committed for the long haul, the credit lasts your whole policy term. The Geico Give Back, helping riders focus on the road ahead.
Tell us we can't, and we'll prove you wrong. Knock us down, and we'll get right back up. Call us risk takers, misfits, bad boys. But we know what we want, and it feels like American muscle, looks like advanced engineering, and smells like fresh, cut grass. Bad boy, mow with an attitude.
And it's Chris Myers coming up on Play at Home Trivia this week, presented by Miller Lite. A couple of former Cubs and former All-Stars, and Ryan Dempster and Carlos Pena. It's the first time we matched two previous winners on the show, and we'll put their minds to work 8 Central on Wednesday. Cole, our question, one of the ones we'll be talking about, and I'll ask you guys, Ryan and Carlos, what former World Series MVP did Jake Arrieta take deep in the postseason in 2016?
Well, I think I know the answer, but if I say it, I might knock that pitcher off his horse, and I don't want to do that.
I don't know the answer, Dan, but I remember that it was a placata, and that's all I care about. It doesn't matter who hit it.
All right, tune in for these guys and having some fun on Play at Home Trivia. Cole, let's go back to you.
Oh, man, can't wait to see Ryan Dempster and Carlos Pena go toe-to-toe and Play at Home Trivia. That's coming up next right here on Marquee Sports Network. And, of course, Madison Bumgarner, giving up that jack to Jake Arrieta, Game 3, 2016 NLDS by the Bay in San Francisco. And all of our guys, as they saw it, we're back here with the gang on Cubs 360. It's Bruce, JD, and Pete. And Jake the Snake, well, that gets us to our Miller Lite refreshing take of the day, because letting him walk 2 years ago and acquiring Yu Darvish, was that the right move or the wrong move? Pete, I'll start with you. You seem a little fired up about this one.
I love Jake Arrieta. I always thought Jake Arrieta had the mental toughness. When he was in a game, you knew that he was not going to be a head case. Let's look at Yu Darvish for a second. 6 years, his first 2 years. First year, okay. Second year, horrible the first part of last season. Second part of last season, pretty damn good. But here's the problem I have with Yu Darvish. I would never question a player being injured. I would question the mental toughness of a player. So if Darvish has a man on first and he walks the next batter, so he's got a man on first and second, I'm nervous because I think you may unravel in this situation. With Jake Arrieta, no, I would never think that in a million years. After the All-Star break last year, he was great. Hopefully we'll see that starting this season, because winning builds confidence, and hopefully we'll start the season with a little confidence with Yu Darvish.
Well, in Darvish, I saw a very confident pitcher last year. And then we hear about the scandal with the Astros and how that probably impacted Yu Darvish's psyche as well, knowing that his pitches were being easily disseminated by the Houston Astros. So we saw one of the more dominant and confident pitchers in baseball last year with Darvish. As far as Arrieta, his stuff is short. He's not the pitcher he was. Turned down a 4-year, $88 million deal with the Cubs back in 2015-16. So from moving on from Jake to Darvish, I think was the right move. I still think it is. I love both of their competitiveness, especially what we saw from Jake and the time he was here and through the World Series. But that's not the same pitcher anymore. So I think the Cubs have the better end of it now with Darvish.
I thought it was a good deal at the time, and I still would probably come down on the side of signing Darvish versus Jake. What was the right play? The obvious answer is it's yet to be determined. We don't know yet. Year one of the Darvish deal was not good. He made just 8 starts. He was hurt for a good chunk of the year. We had a lot of worries and concerns about the mental side of it. He seemed to put that all to rest last year. From the end of May on, he was about as good as anybody in the league. The strikeout to walk ratio was crazy good, unbelievably good. for a guy who for a period of starts couldn't find the strike zone. It was remarkable, the turnaround, and he was trending upward at the end, whereas Jake spent the end of last year on the disabled list. So I think in terms of the way they are trending as you look forward, Darvish seems to be the right man for the job over Arrieta. The other part of all this, of course, though, because of the pandemic and the finances of the game, you might have been better off having the Arrieta contract where you're out of it after this year. Darvish signed a 6-year deal, so there's a lot more money committed to Darvish going forward, and the economics of the game may change after this.
Bruce, what do you say? You need an opening day starter. Why are you going with Yu Darvish?
Because he's the dominant strikeout pitcher, and he's got to be the ace of your staff going forward. If you look at the Cub minor league system, it's still in the developmental stages as far as pitching goes. There's a couple of really good-looking young pitchers coming along right now, not there yet. So he needs to be the ace of your staff and your opening day starter when David Ross makes his choice again as we go toward opening day sometime in July.
Yeah, Yu Darvish looking to be steady for David Ross, hoping to be that constant for this 2020 Cubs pitching staff. Now we're rounding third and headed for home right here on Cubs 360. Up next, first pitches gone awry. Now, if it can happen to MJ, it can happen to pretty much anyone. And we're going to give you our pick for the worst first pitch of all time. It's on decks right here on Cubs 360. Don't move. Many restaurants and bars are closed, leaving millions without work. America's taps are off, but the tips are needed more than ever. Miller Lite is helping with a virtual tip jar that supports the Bartender Emergency Assistance Program via the USBG National Charity Foundation. Now, they started off with $1 million donation and are asking those who can to join them at virtualtips.org, and they'll continue to support the effort as we continue to face this unprecedented time.
Get to know where to place your next bet on Follow the Money on Marquee Sports Network. Vegas veterans Mitch Ross and Paulie Howard host this hour-long show, share their knowledge of sports and gambling.
If they keep that together, who knows what happens in 99 and 2000. Maybe it's a 5-beat right then and there.
Get the most up-to-date information in live odds, predictions, and betting trends from the sports gambling capital of the world. Follow the Money, live weekday mornings at 6 on Marquee Sports Network.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
Sometimes buying a car is a necessity. CarGurus contactless services can help. Safely find the best deals available when you search by private dealer appointments, at-home test drives, and contactless purchase. CarGurus, find a great deal safely.
You wouldn't accept an incomplete job from anyone else, so why accept it from your allergy pills? Flonase relieves your worst symptoms, which most pills don't. Get all-in-one allergy relief for 24 hours with Flonase.
Someday these will be the good old days.
Yes, the first word to any adventure. But when allergies and congestion strike, take Allegra D, a non-drowsy antihistamine plus a powerful decongestant. So you can always say yes to putting your true colors on display. Say yes to Allegra D.
When you're home, there's nothing like enjoying a classic with a classic. Miller Lite. Great taste and only 96 calories.
The new home for Cubs baseball is Marquee Sports Network.
You're watching Marquee Sports Network.
Oh, it hurts my eyes just seeing it. Who can forget Curtis Jackson, a.k.a. 50 Cent, looking more like Arnold Jackson with that different stroke, throwing out the first pitch at Citi Field in New York. And that was 6 years ago to the day, and that was just a bit outside, I think it's safe to say. Now, we're almost finished here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. Bruce, JD, and Pete back in the fold. And, guys, that 50-cent first pitch, it was terrible, but was it the worst? JD, have you seen a bunch of bad first pitches? And if so, which one has you wanting to cringe?
Yeah, that was really bad. There was one down at Minute Maid Park years ago. Well, and I'm not sure who the woman was, but she basically spiked the ball into the dirt like she was trying to kill the clock in a football game. You may remember Call Me Later, Carly Rae Jepsen in Tampa, just misfiring by a wide margin.
Call Me Maybe.
My vote goes to, Call Me Maybe, that one, yeah. So my winner is a former or one-time Miss Texas down in Arlington, who tried to throw it underhand. And you got to at least go over the top, right, if you're throwing out a first pitch. So, sorry, Miss Texas, but you have to settle for Miss Congeniality, I guess.
I'm going to have to go with one of the greatest athletes in the history of Chicago and the entire world, my man Michael Jordan, for trying to hit the backboard with the first pitch September 28, 1998, as the Cubs and Giants were getting set to play a play-in game for the only wild card that year. Air Jordan airlifted one over everybody's head. And, I love Michael, and he was a pitcher when he's 14, and he's the greatest basketball player of all time. But that one still makes me cringe a little bit.
Curtis James Jackson. I mean, 56, the worst pitch ever. This guy is supposed to be a tough guy, a rapper, and he throws that pitch horrible. But my favorite worst pitch of all time could be my favorite pitch of all time. Bill Murray was throwing out the first pitch in July of, I think it was 2012. Bill got up to the mound, and he threw it over the backstop. I don't know if he was trying to throw it over the backstop or he just had too much in his arm, but I enjoyed it either way. So Bill Murray is my pick.
Too much in his arm or too much across the street at the Cubby Bear. I'm surprised nobody went with the former mayor of Cincinnati, Mark Mallory. I remember when he threw that first pitch out, Eric Davis was there to catch it, and then he was, as it went into the stands, he kind of looked back a little crazy at him. But I don't know if the first pitch was worse or when Mark Mallory went on Undercover Boss and was wearing one of those fake wigs with braids where he looked like Shamar Moore from Baby Boy. But either way, I digress, guys, because our time here, just like bad first pitches, well, it's gone by the wayside here on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite. So for everybody at Marquee Sports Network, including Bruce, JD, and Pete, I'm Cole Wright. Hopefully no bad first pitches in your future. We'll see you next time.
Hello and welcome to the stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. I'm Michael Kim. Thanks so much for watching us on this Wednesday. Coming up later on today's show, we will catch up with Tyler Saladino, the former White Sox third baseman, now playing for the Samsung Lions of the KBO. So that means he's playing baseball right now. We'll get the very latest on how things are going over in South Korea, as well as his transition to a new league. That's ahead. And as far as his former teammates and colleagues are concerned, well, they're still waiting to play some ball. As expected on Tuesday, Major League Baseball presented an offer to the Players Association for a deal that would get the 2020 season underway. Not expected by the players was the considerable cut in salaries beyond what was previously negotiated by the two sides. The owners are proposing a sliding scale. The more a player makes, the more he loses against his scheduled salary, but he has the potential to earn more money based on postseason bonuses. While we await a decision and likely a counteroffer from the Players Association, Major League Baseball released a statement on Tuesday which said, "We made a proposal to the union that is completely consistent with the economic realities facing our sport. We look forward to a responsive proposal from the union," end quote. We now look forward to chatting with our good friend Jim Deshaies of the Marquee Sports Network. He joins us right now. So, JD, first of all, what's your initial reaction to the offer from the owners?
Yeah, my reaction is kind of based on the reactions the players have. Obviously, there's no way this deal is going to fly. I think the owners are just trying to make their case that they are in very dire straits economically, that they have some real significant issues that they need to work through, and they're hoping to get some help from the players. So, you know, the problem is when this stuff gets leaked publicly so quickly after it's first proposed, you know, that just adds fuel to the fire. People start screaming and yelling and saying this deal is never going to work. That particular deal is not going to work, but it's kind of a first offer on the table. And I think the clubs are waiting to see how the players react, and so they can start to inch towards some kind of a middle ground. And I think the other part of it, Michael, is, you know, when you make an offer that is deemed very bad by one side, when you move a little bit towards the center, all of a sudden that becomes much more palatable for the guys across the table from you. So that might be part of the reason why that offer is kind of one-sided looking to most observers. And the other part of it is that if you're an owner, if you're negotiating for the owners, you're negotiating for 30 different clubs who are coming at this from different perspectives. And there may be clubs that are much more militant than others. And, you know, Rob Manfred and his lead negotiators probably feel like they have to at least appease that group by trying to get the best possible deal for the owners initially, and then start to work off of that.
All right. So how do you expect the players then to respond?
Yeah, I don't know. You know, one of two ways, I guess. I could see them saying, nope, that's not going to work. Give us another offer, or some kind of a counter proposal that, in all likelihood, would not be palatable to the owners. You know, more in line with, no, we agreed to a deal back in spring training. Our position is we want to hold to that. Convince us to come off of that deal. So I could see that, and I'm sure with all the really smart economists working on both sides of this issue, there are numbers out there, whether it's, you know, average salary or percentage of revenue that both sides have in their head that they can live with, and the question is, you know, do they ultimately get to that point?
At what point would you and should the rest of us be concerned about the prospects of a season?
Man, just, you know, I go like this, right? Every day, every time you read a story of optimism, you're like, okay, this is going to work. We're going to play ball, and it's going to start around July 4th, and won't that be significant on our nation's birthday to be back at it? And then you see something blow up like it did yesterday, and you go, oh my goodness, this is never going to come to pass. And that's what you have to guard against, that reaction to the breaking news cycle. Every day something new breaks. You know, usually these deals get done when it's quiet. And I would imagine there's, you know, a lot of people kind of working behind the scenes to make that happen.
Maybe a little too quiet for many of us waiting for baseball, wanting to hear the cheers at Wrigley and the organ music and, you know, somebody yelling for hot dog sales in the stands or beer sales.
Oh, my goodness. I know, man. Yeah, let's hope.
We'll get there.
Crack of the bat and a cold beer.
I hate the fact that we had to bring you on and talk about serious stuff. And one of these days, we will get to talk about some fun stuff and hopefully about actual games on the field. And when that day comes, we can't wait. Jim, thanks as always for joining us here on the Stadium.
Thanks, Michael.
The next time the Blackhawks hit the ice, they will play the Edmonton Oilers, and they'll play for a chance to win the Stanley Cup. NHL Commissioner Gary Bettman confirms the Hawks' inclusion in the league's return-to-play plan that results in 24 teams heading to one of two hub cities, which will be announced at a later date. With Chicago still in the mix as the Western Conference hub, the possibility remains that Bettman could hand the silver challenge to Jonathan Toews at the United Center, or that the Stanley Cup final is played at the UC without the Hawks participating. In a statement released by the Blackhawks, interim president Danny Wirtz said, "We are excited that the Chicago Blackhawks will be among the teams that will compete for the Stanley Cup per the National Hockey League's return-to-play plan announced today. That alone is great for our fans, the city of Chicago, and the state of Illinois. We are also proud that Chicago, including our home arena, the United Center, is being considered as one of the two possible hub cities as part of the league's plan." So the Blackhawks are in. What about the Bulls? there's a chance that the NBA could adopt a similar plan to continue the season, and it's possible that the Bulls, owners of the 24th best record in the association, could be invited to join the postseason party at Disney World. They might head there anyway if league officials decide that all 30 teams should finish out the season together. As our NBA insider Shams Charania has informed us, the NBA and Disney are in negotiations to have the league use the property in Orlando to play out the season through the NBA Finals. Now, what does this all mean for Jim Boylen? The Bulls head coach will either be packing his bags for Disney World or his boxes from his office. The latter may be happening regardless, based on what Sun-Times reporter Joe Cowley said on The Score.
Here's what's going on behind the scenes from the people I've talked to and the sources I've talked to. They're ready to move on from Jim Boylen. Now, the thing in this is timing and how to do this. So what you have with this front office is they have to say, okay, ideally, we've talked to the players. We've publicly come out and said the two things that are most important to us are players first and winning. Jim Boylen doesn't check either of those boxes. He just doesn't. Fair, unfair. The decision, from people I've talked to, the decision is all but made.
Straight ahead, we go to the land of the morning calm, where they've been playing baseball for weeks. Former Southsider Tyler Saladino tells us about his transition to the KBO and South Korea. That's next on The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
Let Marquee Sports Network deliver fresh baseball news and analysis to you with Cubs 360 Daily. Though baseball may be on pause, we're pulling together the most knowledgeable voices coming to you daily from their home to yours.
As we speak, I think there's going to be baseball this year. There's going to be baseball in some way, somehow.
Cubs 360 Daily, fresh each weeknight at 7:30 on Marquee Sports Network. Proudly presented by Miller Lite.
The Stadium is proudly presented by UI Health. Thank you to our heroes on the front line, and thank you, Chicago, for doing your part and staying home. We will get through this together. Proud partners with UI Health, changing medicine for good.
I'm Mike Zen, CEO of the University of Illinois Hospital and Clinics. To our doctors, nurses, and entire staff at UI Health, thank you. Throughout the COVID-19 pandemic, your guidance and courage have been an inspiration. Our deepest gratitude is for your commitment to our patients. Your brave, selfless care exemplifies what makes us great. And Chicago, we are here for you. We will get through this together.
Sport has the power to unite. It has the power to build communities. It has the power to break down barriers and allow people to feel as though they're on equal footing with one another. We at Cubs Charities have the ability to do some critical work right now, utilizing the power that sports has in building community, in inspiring hope, and uniting a city.
Thanks for watching The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. Our next guest spent 6 seasons with the Chicago White Sox and the Milwaukee Brewers in the major leagues, but this year he took his talents to South Korea, and he, unlike many of his major league brethren, well, are not playing baseball right now, but he is, as a member of the Samsung Lions in the Korean baseball organization, Tyler Saladino, a fan favorite when he was on the south side of Chicago, joining us here right now from South Korea, Daegu, South Korea, to be specific. How are you, Tyler?
I'm good. I'm glad to be on here with you and catch up with you guys. I'm excited for this. I'm looking forward to what you got in store.
All right. Well, first of all, why don't you tell everybody how your transition to Korea has gone, both on and off the field?
We've been here since the end of March, and everything has been all right. So, the adaptation to the culture and all of that is sort of in the background with everything that's going on.
How about as far as the baseball aspect of your transition? How's that going?
Yeah, there's definitely a learning curve. We don't have fans, but they still, have the cheer squad banging music while you're hitting, and that was like the first thing that happened where I had to learn how to hit while the bass drum is getting banged on, and the head cheerleader he's screaming at the top of his lungs the whole time, and it's an empty stadium with the surround sound booming from a single microphone in one guy's hand. He's just letting it rip the whole time. He's as if there was an entire stadium of fans. So it's a different style of baseball.
How has having Asian grandparents, you have a Japanese grandmother and a Filipino grandfather, how has that experience and that knowledge helped you make that transition culturally?
Yeah, from a cultural standpoint, I think it's just I've got a different sort of understanding for everything compared to some of the others. Just the people and how everything works for them and how they go about everything. So I was kind of raised in a lot of that, and it definitely helped and made things a little bit just easier to kind of fall into once I got out into everything. So that part of it has definitely helped for me.
What has your own experience now already in Korea helped you in terms of your empathy toward other players back maybe when you were a major leaguer and experiencing how guys were having to come over from the Caribbean or from Australia and maybe not so much the Australians, but maybe from certainly the Caribbean or the Spanish-speaking nations where they're thrown into an area with a new language and a new culture? Has your perspective on those type of players and situations changed?
Yeah, you hit it right on the spot there. It was as soon as we got over, once we got to Okinawa and we get with the whole team and we start doing everything, it hit me immediately. As soon as you're called the foreigner, you take it for whatever it is that you think of it. But I immediately thought of all the guys that I played with my whole career, all of the Latin players or wherever they may have come from. There's guys coming from everywhere back home, and we kind of don't think too much of it because we're used to just it being a real diverse game of baseball that we play. But once I got over here, it's like, oh man, it hit me so hard. This is what they all go through. Like, you have no idea until you're actually in that position.
The testing protocol there is working, something that they're trying to implement in Major League Baseball here once the games get going. Give us an idea. What's that like as far as the testing protocol over there?
So for us, it was a test as soon as we landed. We found out we were negative, but we were also told the government had changed the rules, and we've got to fulfill the 14 days. So we had been there for a day and a half, and we had to finish 14 days from our arrival date. And so from that point, even though we were negative, we found out it was midday that day we got tested, and I guess they were pretty busy that day, so we didn't find out until late that night. And even though we were negative, we still had to do our quarantine. So we spent 12 and a half days, and we were inside the whole time, and it was really strict. We were told absolutely no exceptions. After our 14 days ended right there, that 15th day, we went to the field, and that's been it. Aside from temperature checks and the thermal camera, but happens at the same time. There's a thermal camera. You walk past it, it'll buzz if your alarm being above temperature. And then we get our temperature checked right after that. It's right at the front desk. It's where you have to enter. And, since that day that we were cleared, that's been the only thing that we have to do every day. We've got a rental car. We drive ourselves to the field. And everything else from there, it's been pretty normal.
Have any of your teammates had a positive test or they had high temperature where they had to be pulled away?
Yeah, none of that has happened. And I've asked from the beginning, even before we left the States, just out of curiosity and concern. And from what I've been told, there hasn't been a single case. I haven't seen or heard of anything, staff included.
As I'm sure you have heard, following what's going on over here, there have been some concerns from players who are wondering, about their safety and their health, and not only their own personal safety and health, but also for their families, depending on how this coronavirus goes here in the United States. Knowing what you know and explaining some of the protocols that you've gone through already with KBO, what advice would you have for the current major leaguers who might have some questions about their safety?
Yeah, that's definitely one of the biggest concerns. I understand both sides of it, because you have there's so many things going on for each individual, their families, whether they're established guys or established guys with families versus guys that, don't have the family and don't have much more than their next day that they're searching for in the game of baseball. That's the complication that you have there. And that's a tough situation. You got to respect both sides of it. For those that are dying for that job, really need to get out there, and those that have done amazing things for themselves and their families, you got to respect both sides of it.
Before we let you go here, Tyler, as I mentioned, you're a former White Sox player. You made your major league debut with the White Sox, actually against the Cubs 5 years ago, and got your first hit against the Cubbies. What do you miss most about Chicago?
I think I miss those crosstown Cup series. It's like playing for dibs on that rivalry in the city. Those are by far the most enjoyable games I've ever played. Every game is extremely enjoyable, and the whole experience of any game in the major leagues is incredible. But I'm from San Diego, so I didn't know anything about Chicago going into it. And that first sample of the Crosstown Cup and playing and hearing everybody going back and forth, seventh inning stretch, and they're yelling Cubs or they're yelling Sox or whatever it is, that whole thing is something I'll cherish forever. And sports fans, everybody in Chicago is definitely a highlight of my life that I did not take 1 second for granted, and will cherish every bit of that forever.
Oh, that's excellent. Tyler, thank you so much. Be safe, and we hope to see you again soon. And who knows, maybe down the road we may check back in with you, whether it's about the KBO or about Major League Baseball. I know you've got a lot of information that you can share with us and all of our viewers. So, Tyler Saladino, thank you so much for staying up late, by the way. It's really late there in South Korea, so we appreciate you hanging in there with us.
Yeah, it's worth it. It's worth it, of course.
Coming up, how one of the youngest Cubs fans gets his first glimpse of Game 7 of the 2016 World Series and ends up in the arms of Chris Bryant. That's next on The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
The Stadium is proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good.
This isn't forever. It's a moment in time. We may be isolated, but we're still connected. We navigate individually, but experience this together. We're Chicago. We know how to hunker down and push through. We'll come out stronger, more resilient. Look forward to the day we'll share these spaces once again. From us at Wintrust to all of you, hang in there. We'll see you on the other side.
This is a payday bar. It has a truckload of peanuts and a caramel core that gets the job done. It's 10.5 centimeters of awesome. Unless you get the king size, which is 14.7 centimeters of, oh yeah. Payday. Get to it.
Now is the time to remember that picking each other up is what we all do best. Being a good friend, a good neighbor, a good partner. That's why Enterprise remains open. We're committed to helping essential workers and frontline responders help us all move forward. Because while the distance between us has gotten bigger, the one way we'll get through it is together.
The Our Home is the training ground for her dreams policy from American Family Insurance. Insure carefully. Dream fearlessly.
Introducing. Oh, and right after that, we had to stop production on my first ad as owner of Mint Mobile because, So instead of an epic ad, I created an epic slide. Mint Mobile is premium wireless for just $15 a month. Crazy, right? See, slides can be compelling. Ooh, thank you, slide. Oh, the Mint Fox.
Welcome back to the stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. Get your first look at Cubs 360 daily weeknights at 7:30 p.m. right here on Marquee Sports Network. Here's Cole Wright with more on today's show.
Coming your way tonight on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, with Major League Baseball and their negotiations still spinning. How will they compete with hoops and hockey in 2020? We'll discuss that and much, much more tonight on Cubs 360, presented by Miller Lite, right here on Marquee Sports Network.
We continue with our Hometown Heroes series, and we take a look at a teacher who went viral for brightening the day of one of her students, of course, during these tough times for children. Taylor McGregor has more.
I think a lot of us were holding on to knowing that we would get to say goodbye to that class.
When the shelter-at-home order was announced in April, the education system was hit hard with e-learning, making some students miss out on school events, like one of Catherine Snell's second graders who earned Student of the Month.
I had just put together my own goodie bag for her kind of on my own because it wasn't possible for us to get the actual ones from the school. But I just wanted to leave it there for her because I knew, it's difficult for all the kids. And I just felt like she really deserved the recognition that she wasn't going to get, especially knowing that we weren't going back to school. And when I pulled up on to her street, she was like waiting outside, waving, like it was the cutest thing. And so I was like, well, you have to back up so I can, drop this on your porch. And so then she went in her doorway and her mom came and we just chatted for a few minutes. And I didn't even realize the picture was taken until I left. And later that night I was on Twitter.
And then it went viral.
Then when E-News posted it, I was like, what is my life? My iPhone 7 crashed 7 times because it could not handle the Instagram volume. And I'm like, what is happening right now?
It was a story that connected with people all over. Yet, there remains only one connection that matters to Snell.
But I think, with every Zoom meeting that we do, or every, card that I send to a kid, or every time we really awkwardly sing happy birthday over Zoom and everybody's a couple lines off, we still are making the connection, and we are still trying to show our students that we're there for them. And at the end of the day, I guess that's all I could really do, whether I'm in the classroom or not. So.
Marquee Sports Network is shining a spotlight on hometown heroes, members of the community who are stepping up to help during the COVID-19 pandemic. To nominate someone, head to marqueesportsnetwork.com/heroes. And finally, check out this video posted by Chris Bryant's wife, Jessica, showing new dad Chris watching last night's rebroadcast of Game 7 with their son, Kyler. Talk about sharing a moment. Look at that smile on Chris's face. Now that's a proud papa, and with good reason. And someday Kyler will appreciate what that win meant, not only to his parents, but also to all of the Cubs fans out there waiting a long time for that celebration. You don't have to wait too long for the next edition of The Stadium. We're at it again at 7 p.m. Monday through Friday, right here on Marquee Sports Network. Thanks for watching The Stadium, proudly presented by UI Health, changing medicine for good. I'm Michael Kent. See you tomorrow.
People will always come and go in our lives, but we all know those few who never left. The partners who've always had you covered. That friend you consider the best, because that's how they make you feel. At Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Illinois, we know what it means to be there, guiding you toward a healthier state of mind. Because the more we know as individuals, the healthier we all feel as a community. Through it all.
Every generation has its heroes who see past themselves and the risks and the fear to run toward the danger with courage and compassion, touching lives, saving lives, changing us all. Every generation has its heroes, and you are ours. Advocate Aurora Health.
Here's to the road ahead. Trust Toyota to be here for you.
Right now, Toyota is offering 0% financing for 60 months on a new 2020 RAV4. Or you can lease a new RAV4 for $229 a month. You can even shop and buy online from the comfort of your home. Many Toyota service centers are open to help keep your vehicle in top shape and may even offer no-contact vehicle drop-off.
All from the brand you trust, today and tomorrow. Toyota.
After I came home from Iraq, I could still hear the booms. Makes it hard to be a good mom.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I'm Naomi Mathis, Air Force veteran.
DAV helps veterans get the benefits they've earned.
Thanks to DAV, I was able to begin to heal.
With the right support, more veterans can reach victories, great and small.
My victory is being able to be here for my children.
Support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Where will you go first? Will it be familiar streets? Or perhaps unknown roads? Wherever you may go, Lexus will welcome you back with exceptional offers. Find a Lexus for every road at Lexus.com.
Get 0% financing and make no payments for up to 90 days on all 2020 Lexus models.
Experience amazing at your Lexus dealer.